Hello everyone, welcome back. In this session, we are going to discuss about Docker, what is its use cases, what is its definition, how it can be used with different applications. Docker is a DevOps tool. Docker is helpful for packaging and application code along with its packages, along with its libraries, along with its configurations and dependencies into a single container-like structure so that it can be easily transferred or forwarded to anyone like different teams, QA and etc. Docker is helpful for containerizing an application so that it helps in implementing the best practices of DevOps. Actually, what is Docker? Docker is a tool which is helpful for containerizing an application. We will just consider an example. This is a suitcase. Consider suitcase as a container. That suitcase contains code, library settings. Same way how your lunchbox is packaged, like your meals and etc. is packaged. In the same way, your container will also hold code, libraries, and settings and etc. So we'll start implementing Docker. The implementation will start implementing how we package an application and how we Dockerize it. We will start with Node.js application initially, and we will go through all the types of tech stacks like like React.js, AngularJS, Net.js, Java, Python, .NET, PHP, everything. This this session is not going to be a single session. It's going to be a playlist in which we are going to learn Docker and Docker commands and its usage. Firstly, we will start with the Node.js application. I have already started documenting the commands and we'll start implementing it. Okay, let's start implementing the Docker practice. We'll start cloning the code. This is my GitHub repository. You can also visit with this link. We'll start. I have put the Dockerfile and code along with the code in this repository. You can clone it and you can directly practice it. Okay. The first command is to clone the GitHub content. Yeah, it's completed. We need to change the directory to Docker tutorial. Then we need to go to the actually it has front end and backend. Server represents the backend. You can see the default files of a Node.js application, models, controllers, index.js. So I have also put the Dockerfile in it. Let's go through the Dockerfile. You can see what is a Dockerfile. A Dockerfile is a template which gives instructions to the Docker runtime engine so that it has to follow that instructions and whatever the instructions given in the Dockerfile, like we take an base image for working environment. This is the first line which tells about the environment, and the second line working directory. This command tells to consider an application folder, a directory, so that all our code etc. will be copied into that app folder. Then it will tell copy package.json and package.json.log file, because that is the file where our dependencies, our libraries are defined. Then using this command, all the libraries which are mentioned in the package.json will be installed, and then it will copy the rest of content, code, CSS, JS, etc. static files. Then we can. This is for just for reference. We need to tell for understanding which port our application is running. The last one, the command. This tells to start the application. As it is a Node.js application, it's not directly exposed to the public traffic. Only front end or our mobile application API or any APIs, you can only access it. You don't need to deploy it in Nginx or anything. You can directly start the Node.js application using npm start command. Okay, then I think you get some clarity about Dockerfile. Dockerfile is a template for defining a Docker image. Okay, the Dockerfile contains all the instructions to create a Docker image, so that Docker image can be executed and can be a container. What is a container? A container is a running instance of a Docker image. So first of all, we need to define a Docker file by building a Docker image. We will run the Docker image for creating content. Now we'll start creating the image. For that, we need to follow some commands. We have a docker build command for creating a Docker image. I also kept them in a documentation for it. Can also directly follow them. Build -t flag tells to name an image. We'll give them as backend, and -f flag tells the direct file position of the Docker file. It's in the current directory, so I'm directly giving Dockerfile and pressing the tab. Dot indicates current directory, then enter. You see our image is start getting built. The first step is taking a runtime environment. It's Node 18 lightweight image of Node.js 18 version. Then the second step started. It created a working directory with the name of app. Then it copied the package.json. Then it installed the libraries. You can say then it copied the remaining files used the 8080 port and it started the. So it tells how to start the image application. Now we can see the image present in the docker.sock using docker images command. We have backend application with docker image. Now to run it, we need to create a container. You can check there are no containers right now. Now I will use docker run -itdp. P stands for port forwarding, D stands for detached mode, and IT stands for transferring and for port forwarding. And I will give the ports. For first port tells about where the application runs in the browser, from which port, from the port from the browser to be transferred to the port to the host. Like I will explain it using a visual diagram. First of all, we will create this port, create this container, and we have to give the name of the image. Yeah, our container is created. You see, it is up and running. We can access it using the ports. As it is a killer code run playground, learning playground, which is free. We can use the default ports here. I have exposed it on port 80, so I will. Yeah, you can see our application is running on port 80. Now, what's happening in the background? Let's visualize it. Just a minute. Yeah, I have prepared a PPT presentation for this. Let's start explaining it. Yeah, you are running docker run command -p 80 from port 80 you are forwarded to 8080. I will explain this. First of all, traffic from the web. From the web, you hit consider this is an application URL. This our Dockerize. You are running the Docker inside a web server or EC2 server or any VM that has a public IP. So that for that public IP, it is exported by a port 80. The first port number in the first port number in 80 is to 8080. So when you click on that URL, It forwards the traffic to container via port 8080. So do you get that? What's really happening here is, again, you see, traffic hits like this. So that's the way traffic is being forwarded. This is the Docker file we use, and you can also stop the container whenever you want. Docker stop. Again, once again, you can also start using Docker start command. See, this is once again running. In this way, you can package a Node.js application. How do you know that npm start works in the Docker file? That is, how do you know that we have to write npm start here? That is defined in your package.json. See, scripts. In your package.json, there is a command, there are scripts with a key value page start. When you enter npm start, it is executing the command node index.js. That's how Node.js application starts, right? Whenever you directly, you can also check if you have Node.js installed. We have node index.js. The application runs. This is the error regarding to the MongoDB URL. If you give the URL, that will be working. For that, you have to install it. Okay, my environment does not have npm. So that's how it works. Okay, this is all for this session. In the next session, we'll try to package and dockerize an application, like a Python application. And in coming sessions, we are going to discuss about Python and Java, Angular, PHP, .NET, and etc. This playlist covers all types of application using Docker. Yeah, thank you.